And I don't even know where to start. What a crazy finish it was. Because with roughly 3 minutes to go in the game, it's still 20-9.
Yeah.
The Commanders had 9 points through 56 minutes of the game. Now, in the last 4 minutes, they scored 17, and there were so many twists and turns, and I can't imagine the emotions of a true Commanders fan at the end.
I've never experienced that kind of...
The highs and lows.
And that quick of a period.
Sure.
I mean, we've all experienced highs and lows, right? I mean, I go back to when Duke scored 10 against us, against the Terps in a minute, whenever that was, 15 years ago, whatever. But that was... devastating. And the thing is, you could see it coming. You saw Seibert had been struggling, probably came back too early from injury. That's what I'm guessing. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, if he wasn't 100%, why not stick with the Gonzalez for another week? I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of second guessing now.
I don't know. I'm sure he demonstrated he could kick the 51-yarder, but something wasn't right. Obviously, it wasn't a perfect snap. I mean, I don't know. I've never experienced that. Because when McLaurin makes that play and just blows by everybody to get in the end zone.
You weren't thinking go for two? You're usually conservative.
I never, for a half second, ever considered it.
I never thought about going for two.
And we'll talk about it later and take calls.
At home, I think even the general rule is at home you go for one.
You've got them on your heels. You're about to eat. I mean, you had no business being in that spot.
Because if he goes for it and he flubs it and they don't convert, he's going to get second guessed from now until the end of time for that decision.
But with Jaden Daniels, a 2-point conversion.
Now, I understand
I never thought about it for 1 second.
It's a good play for his skill set. And if you're
they'd converted one earlier.
If you're a massive underdog and you're on the road against a way better team and you don't want to go to overtime and get exposed even further, go for it. Go for two. But at home, you kick that extra point and you go to overtime.
I'm always a go for two guy. But they were fortunate to be in that position. 20-9, this is probably the emotions, EB, I would imagine. 20-9, you feel defeated. You're like, kind of that same old skin.
From the second quarter on.
Especially because the offense, for the most part, was lifeless. Besides Jaden Daniels, they couldn't run the football. The explosive offense.
Cliff lost his bag.
Yeah.
He's just handing off on first and second down all the time. We were in third and longers.
Oh, so many third and longs in that game.
It was maddening. He put Jaden in a really, really tough spot. Jaden was getting pressured all over the place. He missed some throws too where he wasn't pressured. But I hated the offense.
Yes. We're going to talk about Cliff Kingsbury's offense again from all angles later in the show. But that's the majority of the game. I mean, you have 3 points at the half.
No, the game was dreadful.
You have 9 points at the end of three quarters. Like I said, 56 minutes in, you're still on 9 points. But then the emotions of scoring, Jaden 7 for 7 on that drive. Now, maybe you can say, well, Dallas is in a different type of defense. They were
definitely backing off, no doubt.
They're backing off, but he still completes 7 of 7, hits Ertz for the touchdown pass. They convert the 2-point conversion. Now you have a glimmer of hope. You're down a field goal. And then you have the kickoff return.
Cavante
the kickoff return,
which 3 times, and then runs
I almost
right up
hate to say this. I mentioned Turpin's speed last week. You know what? I'm going to borrow the pack batting machine, even though I predicted a win and I thought we should win. I was scared of this game, and I was scared of 3 guys: Micah Parsons, who was a huge player in the game. Obviously, everyone knows. You're not stupid. He's a great player. CeeDee Lamb, who maybe didn't have a massive impact, but he had a bunch of catches, kept their offense going. And then I mentioned this guy. I didn't even know who that guy was 3 weeks ago. That guy's speed
like a USFL
is insane.
Guy. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, he caught the slant the week before to the house.
That's where I noticed
the Commanders' defense. They made Cooper Rush actually look good because
we could get no pressure.
They couldn't pressure him throughout the game.
And pressure.
I tweeted, as bad as the offense was, the defense was actually more culpable, and I got attacked for that. I got attacked for a billion things yesterday, obviously. But if you don't pressure Cooper Rush, of course he can hit layups like he did to Schoonmaker. Now, the touchdown pass to Tolbert was nice. I'll give him credit on that. But he is a
most of the guys are wide open too.
Backup quarterback that should never be able to carve you up, and that's exactly what he did to that defense.
Well, I said before the game, if we lost, it would be an absolute devastating, humiliating loss. And that, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Well, it is. You lose to a team that lost 5 in a row, that had been giving up 35 points per game, that had the second worst rushing defense in the league. Now, statistically, the Commanders ran for 145 yards, which isn't bad. And I know that Jaden is a big part of the running game. He had 7 carries for 71 yards.
They tried to force the run that wasn't there.
But the non-Jaden rushes
were terrible.
Was 18 runs for 71 yards.
Exactly. They kept forcing it. I was livid. Livid. They kept trying to force something that wasn't there. And I think at the end of the day, this comes down to we're just a little bit under-talented. I mean, we just still aren't talented enough.
What I wanted to say is, so Turpin gets that kickoff return. Now you're defeated again as a fan, right? It's 27-17.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Washington gets the ball back, moves the ball down the field, settles for the 51-yard field goal, 7-point game, 27-20. You're thinking long shot because you're going to have to use your timeouts. You're going to get the ball back with very little time, but it plays out that way that they get the ball back.
I'll give Quinn credit. I don't think he had a great day. The way they managed the clock there, perfect. They literally managed it to perfection in that instance.
They get the ball back.
But is that even that hard to, like, he's been coaching forever.
No, we can do that from home.
I should be able to do that.
No. I don't know necessarily. I didn't know necessarily that you would kick that field goal right at that moment. I hadn't done the math. I'm not a statistician.
Right.
I didn't know to kick it at that point.
Well, he also, I'm sure, has somebody in his ear saying,
"Of course,
kick the field goal.
You got to kick it now.
Yeah,
you got to kick it now." But I thought Greg Olsen was off. Yeah, again, he kind of annoys me because he just assumed, and they did do an onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know why we do those in the NFL anymore. They're dumb. Everyone knows that you have to telegraph it. You have to tell them, "Oh, we're going to kick it onside." I'm sure that's going to work.
Yeah, but it worked in the Bears game.
Okay.
Yeah, but it works
fluky.
like less than 10%.
Well, that's how it's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather just kick it and hold, get them back at the 25 or whatever.
But
although
sometimes
we
you
can't kick it
can't
out of
do
the end
that.
zone.
You
That's
can't
the problem, which again, I called. We got to kick the ball out of the end zone.
Anyway, you kick the field goal, 7-point game. You do what you need to do. You get the ball back, but you're in a position where if you get tackled on the field, game's over.
Sure.
And they get the miraculous pass to Terry McLaurin where he's untouched.
Lightning strikes, and you're like, oh, they're going to tie the freaking game.
I thought it was a fantasy.
By the way, that's why I go for the jugular. Go for the jugular right there. End the game. You steal it.
Never, honestly, JP, until this morning, until you saying that, it's the first time I've heard someone actually suggest we go for 2
I'm generally a go for 2 guy.
Why would I want to turn it into a 50-50 proposition? I would rather just play good defense or win the coin toss and go down there and win.
I like to put it in my team's power to win the game. I don't think it's in control because you lose the I know the overtime rules are different, but
just got to make a stop.
I hate the overtime rules.
Well, I hate just
They're
going for 2.
better than before, but they're still not great.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to open up the phone lines, 800-636-1067. So many things to talk about in this game. Commanders fall to 7-5. That is 3 losses in a row. This narrative about Cliff Kingsbury's offense, can't escape it. You can't escape it. The second half for Cliff Kingsbury is bad. And then I heard something this morning that was interesting. Dan Quinn's first year in Atlanta. Do you know what they started, EB?
No.
5-0. Do you know how they finished?
Who are we talking about?
Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
When he coached in Atlanta, his first season, they started off 5-0. A lot of the things that people were saying about Dan Quinn.
6-12. I have no idea.
Finished the season going 3-8 in their last 11. Finished 8-8. Now, second season they made the Super Bowl.
Right.
But his first year in Atlanta, they started off super hot, 5-0, and then the league caught up to him with Cliff Kingsbury's offense. I mean, that offense, it's gone. That explosive offense is gone.
I didn't want to give that fire any more oxygen about Cliff Kingsbury's offense.
I neither.
Like falling apart in the second half, but apparently it's a real thing. I don't know if it's just teams catching up to him, critical injuries. But it seems
they're not really that injured.
Well,
compared to most teams in the league, they don't have that many injuries.
Well, we are now. I mean, we're going to lose our 2
key
starting
offensive
running
line
backs.
injuries, running back injuries. Like they're starting to add up.
May not have affected this game. I mean, B-Rob missed the second half, right? Didn't come back for the second half.
Yeah, he was beat up. I didn't think he was going to come back for the initial.
The Cowboys came into that game without their
they were
two
injured.
starting guards
for
without
sure.
Brandon Cooks.
The defense should
Not an excuse.
the Commanders' defense should have been much better in this game.
Yeah.
Like they're getting a pass because the offense was kind of inept too until they caught fire.
Dallas was brutal. They were awful. We were worse.
Dallas tried to give it to them. Their first three drives,
terrible.
they're inside the 30. They have a field goal that's blocked. They have another field goal that
It was a
Aubrey seemed
comedy
automatic.
of errors.
Dallas was awful.
They had a
early.
punt that was blocked.
If the Commanders' defense could have done offense had done anything in the first half, it would have been a runaway victory.
Yes,
They couldn't get out of their own way.
It was
They
brutal.
They were in 3rd and long forever.
Yes. And they kept trying to give it to us. They kept trying to give us the game. And the fact that it was 3-3 at halftime was humiliating. Humiliating.
And then it hits it over by a lot.
And I'll tell you, the other reason why I think it never even occurred to me to kick that, to go for 2 at the end after the McLaurin score is because here's what I actually thought in my brain, but I guess because I'm stupid. I thought, okay, now reality could set in and we could beat the terrible Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If we were playing like a Super Bowl champion, a team that it's like a miracle to beat them, go for it. We should be. We aren't, obviously. We should be the superior team. So I thought, okay, the world is back in order. Now we'll just beat them the old-fashioned way. We'll kick the extra point.
Yeah.
We'll beat their asses in overtime. It never occurred to me for a second that I needed a gimmick 2-point play to beat that horrible team. They suck.
I don't need a gimmick. I just give it to.
Here's what
I give it to Jaden on the edges and say we're gonna win this game right now. That team is emotionally on their heels. They just gave up basically a Hail Mary play.
The old-fashioned beat down in overtime.
This is what I learned yesterday. There are no soft spots. We can't just chalk up wins against the Cowboys or the Titans, by the way, who beat a division rival yesterday, and their defense is fearsome.
Well,
now,
I'm dumb because I'm picking us, but I'm not confident.
Will Levis will give you the ball. He'll throw the ball to you, and he'll get sacked a billion times. But that defense is almost impossible to run the ball on. So good luck to the Commanders next week. That is another tough out.
All right, we'll come back
on double secret probation.